Hello guys, welcome back. Pete Dahlgren here. We're building the Mears Models F86. And as you can see, I am sheeting the lower part of the wing. And I'm plank sheet these wings because it's been a tried and proven method of what I do. And I wanted to explain this method a little bit. That is not glued in yet, but I also wanted to show you why I was doing this. I was speaking with a couple people about beefing up the leading edge a little bit. And this is exactly why I'm doing it, because this is glued, and I'm going to explain the way I lay these sheets out. And as you can see, with these in and with these sanded off, this will take a little bit more sanding to get it completely straight, but it's not a big deal. And the reason I'm doing a lot of this now is because this adds a lot of strength to the leading edge of the wing, and it needs it. It actually acts like another spar. And even though you're going to be gluing onto it, this just didn't look like it was going to be enough for me. So I just added some 3/8 by quarter, and then I sanded it when I trued up the wing ribs and the spars. And as you can see, these are glued in a manner to where there's no way this will ever separate. Now I do add a little 1/4 inch strip in here in between these joints just because. There's not a lot of them in there. It doesn't add a lot of weight. And I did actually clean up the wiring, get everything kind of set inside so that that piece actually does come out for the MPX connectors and the air lines. And I explained a little bit about what I did, all that, so I won't bore you with any more of that. Now, the one thing that I do is that I like to stick these sheets in. Reason being for it is it gives me a good straight area to cut everything in this way. Because if I did everything this way, I'd have a lot of ends on there. Just, god damn it. Anyway, it's just a lot of little things that are in there that needs to be a straight piece of wood. So getting that actually made more sense to me to do it that way. And then I will just actually keep laying the planks and clamping them down and making sure, and this ensures that every single plank has no chance of bubbling. And it did do it to me on one of the wings. And on the other thing, by doing it in one sheet, which is not a problem because you can reach in there and get it. Well, you're on your own when it comes to the bottom. If you don't have it, and I don't like to put a lot of weight and take any chances of warping the swing, but you will notice that, I did clean up the shot. But anyway, what I did do is I actually go through and I true up that leading edge as much as I can. That's not flattened out, it's just rounded off, and I take all the knobs and everything where the jig was, and I go through and I actually go through and clean up all those areas. Now it's very important that you get a lot of glue on there. Don't get skimpy with it. If it drips in there, it's no big deal. But you want that glue to wick, and it's just a better way of doing this stuff to my standard. And what happens is I will take the leading edge and I'll put it straight against the leading edge like so. And then I'll trim these pieces to fit. Now what I'll do here is I will actually go through and I will go through into here and I will take a 1/4 inch piece of balsa and I'll actually put it here, and then I'll put one into the edge here, so then it's got something to glue to. And then this next one I will just simply glue it and I will squeeze it in. This next run will go this way. There will be two that go this way. And basically what I was doing before I shot the video is I wanted to show what that's going to be like. And so you're going to have two this way. And then on this last seam, I will actually come in and put a little bit of 1/4 inch material. I'll just come in and CA it in, and then I will yellow glue it to everything else down. And then this will go all the way out. And then these last sheets will actually go, let's kind of hard to show you with the clamps down there, but they will actually come like this, and they will come back like that, like this. And of course this one, use your imagination, but this one will actually be like this. So essentially what I've got here is I've got full sheets of wood that are in here with no butts into this area. And then this one, of course, will come forward just a little bit up to about right there. And then I will have one little sliver, which will be a remnant of, actually, it'll be this one right here. And I will cut that one to fit in there. So I do plan it out, but the one thing is that I want to, this is basically getting it ready to go and done. I give myself plenty of extra to play with on this. And for some reason it does take less sheeting to do this way, but I've talked about this before, and I want you to look straight down below. You'll see one grain goes this way, another one's going this way. And what that's doing is it's canceling itself out, and it's just making it incredibly strong. And if you do this, you can get away. I know a lot of guys are talking about this weight of glass, and it's not an argument. And I'm not telling you what to use or not to use, but what I am going to tell you is that this wing, with this sheeting this way, this wing is never going to break. I mean, I'd almost bet money that you could put a lot of weight on it and not break it. And this is not a streaming fast jet. This is actually one that's going to fly relatively slow, and it'll be nice, but it's big. But the one thing is that I want you guys to understand is that by putting a lot thicker glass on the wings, it's not this way, built this way, and the way I'm doing it. Anything over 1 ounce is kind of overkill, and I just think you're adding a lot more weight to what you already have. And it's like I said, this wing build, if you build it correctly and you know what it is. I mean, guys, I've put a lot of weight on this wing already, and just checking it, because I was actually second guessing my decision to use 1 ounce cloth. 1 ounce is going to be fine. I'm telling you right now, and after talking with a lot of guys that have been in this business for a hell of a lot of years, it does not do you any good on a wood structure to get too crazy with. It just doesn't do you a lot of good to put a lot of extra weight on there, and it won't. So the one thing is just 1 ounce is going to be fine, and this jet will last for years. And I can tell you right now, guys, I mean, with it glass and with the way it looks and everything else, it's pretty incredible. So you're going to have to use your own discretion on what weight of glass to use on these wings. 1 ounce is fine, but you're going to have a heavy airplane with any more. Glass wetted out is 1 ounce per yard, and guys, it's not that much weight. You're not adding a lot of weight by doing this. It's about the same as monocoat if you do it correctly. So we're not adding a bunch. Now the paint and the fillers and all that stuff, yeah, they start adding up very quickly. So be as sparing as you can with it. Another thing guys have been talking about is jet engine size, and I've done some math on this, and that jetment that's in there is actually rated as a 166, and it's 38. It's 38 pounds, and or I don't know what the translation on that is, but for the weight of this airplane is not all that heavy, guys. It's really not. I've done a lot of sanding. I've been weighing it as we go. My fuselage and the engine, which is 3 pounds. fuselage there and everything in it with all the gear. I just literally put everything inside it and simulated the weight of what everything else done. And we're going to be right at 34 pounds. And that is going to make this a 40-pound airplane. So 38 pounds is enough to fly it fine. And we're not going, a 140 will actually fly this airplane, guys. I have talked with Damiano, and he actually had his rated at 170 on his airplane. This is going to be a considerably heavier airplane because I've added a lot to it, but the one thing is that we have actually come to the conclusion that the Jetman 160 will fly this airplane fine. It just won't get as good as mileage as, you know, well, the fuel consumption is going to suck with it. But the main thing about it is that it's not going to be ridiculous. I mean, I'm guessing 10 to 12 minutes flying time with what we're going to be putting into this, and that's why I'm running the bigger tanks. So, and actually making the tanks. So it's one of these deals where you got to kind of think and plan ahead for a lot of things. Now, I've been working on the systems on this airplane, getting things done, and just getting a lot more accomplished with this, and hopefully I can start glassing this, at least one of the wings, and get it done here within the next, I'd like to get this glassed and start doing the main body work on the wings, getting it to where I can start getting all the nodulars on it, start riveting and doing this. There's a lot of work to do here. And it takes a lot of time. And so the wings need to be done because we got a lot of crap to build in this thing. And so like I said, I got 6 months worth of details to build in this airplane. There's a lot more rivets, and just barely getting started on that. And it looks great. It is great. But don't overthink about your power plant too much. I mean, and I will say that Damiano did tell me personally the 180 is a very good choice. And it's there. But the Jetman engines, the Merlins, have a little bit higher rating. So it's actually a 166 and it's only 3. And when you consider the fact that Damiano did in fact actually turn his, had it turned down a lot. He had it turned down to, I think they said 18 kg, which is right at, you know, actually comes up to being like 38. So there's a lot of little things to reconsider. We got power in reserve. We're not underpowering the airplane. And if I'm wrong, please do speak up, because I do want to make sure that I can actually go, and if I have to rethink the engine, I have to rethink the engine. But Damiano told me the 160 will fly it absolutely fine. And that is from the designer's mouth. That is what has come out of here. And it's just, I don't pretend to know it all. And if I come off that way, I really don't. But I have been asking and talking and doing a lot of research over the last year of building this airplane. And the reason being for it is because I got a good deal on the Jetman that's in it. And so I wanted to make sure that everything else was kosher. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you in the plane papers.